Hey folks, settle in, grab your coffee, black, no sugar, because we're about to sip on something bitter as hell. I'm talking about the kind of truth that hits you like a freight train at midnight. The one you've been half suspecting but didn't want to name out loud. It's late 2025, and the stock market, it's not just frothy, it's a goddamn witch's brew, bubbling over with fairy dust and fool's gold. And nobody wants to call it what it is. The biggest blindside bubble since tulips were worth more than a man's soul. You know what's up. You're 50-something, feet planted firmly on the ground, voting red because you believe in hard work, borders, and the promise that if you play by the rules, the game doesn't rig itself against you. You've got a 401k that's been your faithful old dog for decades, loyal, predictable, maybe a little overweight from all those S&P dividends. And crypto? Hell, it's that wild-eyed cousin at the family reunion, the one whispering about decentralization while the aunties clutch their pearls. You've nodded politely, maybe even dipped a toe with Bitcoin, but sold. Not quite, not yet. Stick with me here, because I'm not here to sell you snake oil. I'm here to hand you a map of the maze before the walls close in. We're gonna take a stroll through this carnival of chaos, the one where AI is the ringmaster, cracking the whip on valuations that defy gravity. We'll peek behind the curtain, flirt with the shadows of what's coming, and by the end, you'll not just survive the storm, but to dance in the eye of it. Ready? Picture this. It's a crisp fall morning in 2026. It's not too far off, right? You're scrolling on your phone over breakfast when the ticker on the CNBC freezes. Not crashes, freezes. Like the whole damn system's holding its breath. Dow's at 45,000. Nasdaq is kissing 22K. All propped up on the invisible scaffolding of the AI revolution. But overnight, the emperor's got no clothes. Some mid-tier chip maker in Taiwan misses earnings by a hair and blames it on supply chain hiccups. And poof, cut to your sheet. That neighbor down the block, the one who refinanced his McMansion twice to chase the market high, his for sale sign's been up for months, but now the bank's got the keys. You wave at him from the driveway as he loads the U-Haul, face like he's aged a decade overnight. What happened, you ask. He laughs, bitter as burnt toast. I thought my tech stocks were bulletproof, man. Zoom out. Your company's next. The boss calls a town hall. Efficiency measures, he says, voice crackling like a bad Zoom connection. We're automating the warehouse. That's code for 200 souls out of the door by Christmas. Not because business is bad. Hell, orders are up. But because the AI overlords promise to shave 15% off labor costs. You're safe for now. Middle management. But that knot in your gut, it's whispering. Yeah, but for how long? Now the real gut punch. Grocery run that afternoon. What used to be $150 for the week's haul? Try $220. Eggs at $6 a dozen. Bread up by 40%. And that ground beef you grill on Sundays, it's leaner than your portfolio now, priced like Wagyu. Why? Because the Fed's second rate cut in October. Yeah, the one we correctly called. Powell, that civil-haired oracle in the Eccles building, steps to the podium last week and drops the hammer. That's it for 2025, folks. No more cuts. The AI hype machine sucked up every loose dollar. Trillions funneled into data centers the size of small towns. Server farms humming like beehives on steroids. But strip that out, the real economy is actually wheezing along at 0.5% growth. Your paychecks buy less. Your savings erode like sandcastles at high tide. And employment? Oh, that's the cruelest tease of all. Right now it's booming. Construction crews wiring up those AI colossus. Coders pulling 6 figures to debug hallucinations and chatbots. Your kid's college buddy just landed a gig at one of those startups. Fresh out of state school. Salary that'd make your 90s self choke on his beer. But here's the irony. That's the setup for the slaughter. Amazon didn't just lay off 30,000 people because they overhired. No. They did it because the robots arrived early. Warehouse bots that sort, pack, and ship without coffee breaks or bathroom runs. Your kid's buddy. He's next. The very investment juicing the bubble today are sharpening the guillotine for tomorrow's jobs. White collar, blue collar. Doesn't matter the color of your shirt. When the AI priests run out of the heretics to convert, the faithful get fed to the machine. Nobody knows the next tweet from Elon or the next tariff from the White House will torch the whole shebang. Investors hunker down, hoarding cash like squirrels before a blizzard. Businesses freeze hiring. Expansions. Your 401k, it's a ticking bomb, disguised as a growth fund. One wrong pop, and the retirement's not golden. It's ramen noodles and regret. Now, let's lean in a bit closer. Paint that grim canvas a shade darker. Because you deserve the full portrait here, not the airbrush version they peddle on Fox Business. Imagine the pop hits not with a bang, but a slow, suffocating whimper that turns into a roar. The first wave, the AI darlings deflate. Nvidia, that chip champ riding the crest, down 60% in a month, wiping out pensions, 529 plans, the works. Your golf buddy, the one who diversified into the magnificent 7 stocks. He's calling from his couch, voice hollow. I lost the cabin fund, the kid's tuition. Market sees. Credit dries up faster than desert rain. Small banks, the ones lending to your local hardware store, they fold like cheap suits, triggering a domino of foreclosures. That strip mall by the highway, ghost town by spring. Shuttered diners, empty lots, tumbleweeds rolling past the old Five Guys. Then, the human toll. Unemployment spikes 12%. Not the Great Recession's polite 10%, but a vicious 12% that chews through savings like termites. Maybe you keep your job, but the overtime vanishes, the bonuses evaporate. Wife's part-time gig at the real estate office, gone as listings plummet. Social security checks stretch thinner. Medicare premiums climb while coverage shrinks, because Uncle Sam's drowning in debt. That $35 trillion in albatross around the neck of every taxpayer, protests erupt. Not the organized kind, but raw, ragged mobs at state capitals. Folks in care hats and faded MAGA hats chanting for relief that never comes. Riots in the cities, sure, but the real rots in the heartland. Farms foreclosed, factories idled, suicides ticking up in the obits like a grim metronome. Inflation. It doesn't deflate with the bubble, it morphs. Food riots in Chicago, gas lines snaking 3 blocks in Dallas. Your grandkids ask why grandpa's stories of full tanks for $20 sound like distant fairy tales. And the dollar? It wobbles, then cracks, debased by a government printing press that's been redlining since the China virus. We're talking about Weimar shadows, not full-blown hyperinflation, but enough to make your fixed income feel like a cruel joke. Milton Friedman warned us, when liquidity vanishes, not from drought, but from distrust, the velocity of money stalls and the machine grinds to a halt. But flip the coin to Vienna, 1920 style. Too much funny money chasing too few real goods, and then you get that Austrian school fever dream. Prices spiraling, savings evaporating, the middle class turned to a kindling. Truth is, somewhere in the middle, you always knew. Too much debt, government's $2 trillion deficits like a junkie's fix, households max on credit cards for that one more month of market magic. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. Bubbles pop, and the smart money flees to the timeless hedges. Gold, that barbaric relic, as Keynes sneered, but the one that shines when paper kings topple. The Weimar Republic, gold bugs laughed to the bank while wheelbarrows of Marx bought bread. The dot-com bust, gold doubled while Nasdaq nursed its wounds. 2008, same script, yellow metal up by 25% as Lehman lit the fuse. It's not sexy, but it's sexier than bankruptcy. But here's the twist. Gold's old school, clunky vaults. Get some, sure, but enter the new gold rush, the new hedge against the bullshit. Cryptocurrency. Not the meme coins or shit coins peddled by TikTok twits, but the real deal. The digital Fort Knox, and a handful of altcoins battle-tested in the crypto winters. Bitcoin. It's not just digital gold, it's gold on rocket fuel. Scarce as a hen's teeth with a 21 million cap. Etched in code harder than granite. No central banker can inflate it away. No government can seize it with a phone call. When the bubble bursts as it will, mark my words, by mid-2026, you own crypto as a hedge. Think back to March of 2020, markets in freefall, Fed slashing rates like a butcher on clearance day. Bitcoin dipped to 4K, then roared to 69K. Why? Because in chaos, certainty is king. Crypto's the lifeboat when fiat floods. And those alts, not all mind you, We're talking Ethereum, the workhorse powering smart contracts that outpace Visa on a good day. Solana, lightning fast and cheapest chips scaling blockchains like no other. Chainlink, the oracle feeding real-world data to this decentralized beast. And many other technology cryptos. The post-FTX implosion in 22, Bitcoin clawed back 10 times from the ashes. While stocks sulked, crypto compounded. And now, with Trump back in the saddle, tariffs biting China, regulations gutted, it's primed. Bitcoin just hit a new record all-time high, and tech altcoins are seeing triple-digit gains. In a world of debt zombies and AI false prophets, Bitcoin and these alts aren't gambles, they're asymmetric bets. Hedge against the downside? Check. Uncorrelated to stocks in the medium term, dances to its own drum, makes money on the upside? Double check. Halving cycles like clockwork, scarcity driving halvings to highs. But don't take my word for it. Let's build this ladder, rung by rung. Rung 1, the bubble's blind spot. AI is not revolution, it's revelation of how fragile our house of cards is. Trillions bet on black boxes that hallucinate more than they innovate. Remove it, the economy flatlines at 0.5%. Rung 2, the Fed's fight. Cuts came, but Powell's pause is the trapdoor. Liquidity's there, certainty's not. Businesses burrow in, consumers clutch pearls. Rung 3, the Pop's portrait. That grim gallery we sketched out, layoffs explode, shelves bare, dreams turn to dust. Rung 4, history's echo. Friedman's liquidity, lag meets Austrian inflation fever, debt being the devil in both. Gold surges as it must. Rung 5, the heir apparent to gold, crypto. Bitcoin at the crown, new gold for a new grind, alts as the backup arsenal. By now, you're leaning forward, aren't you? That itch, the one that says maybe. Well, good. Imagine 2027, markets mauled, but your stack, Bitcoin at 300k, Ethereum humming on real utility, your alts compounding like crazy while your neighbors wonder how the hell you're doing so well. You get busy scooping up bargains in real estate, blue chips, while the herd suffers. Your grandkids don't hear sob stories, they hear legends of the man who saw the future and sailed straight. Open that crypto exchange app tonight. Start small, just a taste. Watch it grow. Learn about it. And if you've ever wondered how to spot the next Microsoft, the next Amazon, the next Google in cryptocurrency, then I want you to meet the man who connected these dots like a grandmaster playing 5D chess. A legendary entrepreneur and investing insider recently broke down this entire phenomenon in an eye-opening podcast interview, explaining how all this works, and why 2026 could mark the biggest financial window of our lifetime, and why these technology cryptocurrencies are already disrupting every major industry from healthcare to logistics. If you care about where the world is heading, or how to navigate it before the rest of the world catches on, you need to see this conversation. It's 100% free to watch, and it might be the most important hour you spend this year. Click the link in the description to go and watch this important podcast interview right now about the coming $500 trillion technology crypto boom, and why 2026 could be the biggest financial window of our lifetime. Click the link in the description now to watch the interview.